Hey, how's it going? It's Sean Bradshaw from cyberfret.com, and in this lesson I'm going to show you how to play a chromatic scale on the guitar. What is a chromatic scale and why do I need to know one? Well, a chromatic scale is where you're going to be basically playing every note in between an octave. If I was to play on my 6th string here, and the open 6th string is an E, and the 12th fret is an E. If I was to play every note, that is a chromatic scale. It's playing every note, so there's actually 12 different pitches between those different octaves. All right, so chromatic, the idea of chromatic is that we're just going one fret at a time, a half step at a time. Now, if you were to take a look at a basic C chromatic scale written out, you'd see I have a C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, and then we arrive at C again. And so one thing that you'll notice is there was no sharp in between E and F and then B and C. If you were to look at a piano, the white keys are the natural notes and the sharps and the flats are the black keys, and so there is no black key in between the E and the F and the B and C. But the idea is there that I have 12 different pitches before it arrives back again at that C, an octave higher. And coming back down, one way I could think about it is I go C, B, B flat A flat G, G flat F, E, E flat D, D flat, and then arrive back at C. So kind of coming down, I'm just kind of thinking of them in terms of flats rather than sharps. So, you know, if I have a C here, up one fret is C sharp. All right, if I have a D here at the 5th fret on the 5th string, and I go down one fret, that is a D flat. But I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can actually play a chromatic scale on the guitar. And it's not that you're just going to riff out in a chromatic scale, but it's helpful to kind of understand, how do I get to the next note higher? No matter where I am on the neck, how could I just go up one pitch, up a half step? And so it's not that you're necessarily going to be just playing chromatic scales, but being able to play chromatic scales really helps you kind of understand the neck a little bit better and you know, understand how to negotiate going up one fret at a time. So as we play these, I don't really want you to think about root, you know, unlike other scales where we kind of think of there being one kind of centering point. In a chromatic scale, yes, we could write it from C to C like I just did and kind of say, well, C is the root of this C chromatic scale, but you don't really hear chromatic scales as having a centering point. The idea is this, I'm just going to be showing you fingerings on how to get up and down one fret at a time. And so we're going to go ahead and start this out. I'm going to start off by showing you one that's going to start here on the 5th fret of the 6th string. And I'm just going to play 1, 2, 3, 4 from my left hand. And once I play those 4 notes, I'm going to shift back one fret for the next string and go 1, 2, 3, 4. The reason is the next note higher, if I was to kind of go up here with my pinky, that note is that 4th fret on the 5th string. So as I'm doing this, I'm just doing one finger on each fret. But in order for me to get to the next note higher, I actually have to shift my entire position back one fret. So I'm going to now start on the 4th fret. And then to get the next note higher, I have to shift back one position. And to get to the next note higher, I have to shift back one position. And this time, as I go from the 3rd string to the 2nd string, I don't shift back one fret. I'm just going to stay on that 2nd fret. And then to get to the next note higher for the 1st string, I do have to shift back one fret. Now don't worry about the fact that we haven't made it back to our original A note that we started on. You could reach up there and grab that A if you really want to hear that, but we aren't thinking again about there being a centering point, there being a root. The idea is just understanding this idea of how we can get to the next note higher. And so all of these shifted back 1 fret except between the 3rd string and the 2nd string, which stayed on the same fret. Now, why is that? If you know the basic idea of tuning the guitar, you play the 5th fret on the 6th string to tune your open 5th string, 5th fret on the 5th string to tune your open 4th string, 5th fret on the 4th string to tune your open 3rd string. But for tuning the 2nd string, you actually go down 1 fret to the 4th fret and then back up to the 5th fret on the 2nd string. So just the way the guitar is tuned, between that 3rd and the 2nd string, you don't have to shift back 1 fret in order to get to the next note higher. So, and then you kind of can reverse back down. Right. So here is that whole chromatic scale, again, playing both going up and down.